Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Kashyapa Uvacha. Etan me Bhagavan Prishta. Prajakamasya Padmajaha Yadahate Bravakshwami Vratam Keshavatoshanam. Sri Kashyapa Muni said, when I desired offspring, I placed my inquiries before Lord Brahma, who is born from a lotus flower. Now I shall explain to you the same process Lord Brahma instructed me, by which Kashyapa, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is satisfied. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Here the process of devotional service is further explained. Kashyapa Muni wanted to instruct Aditi in the same process recommended to him by Brahma for satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is valuable. The Guru does not manufacture a new process to instruct the disciple. The disciple receives from the Guru an authorized process, received by the Guru from his Guru. This is called the system of disciplic succession. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo vidhu. This is the bonafide Vedic system of receiving the process of devotional service, by which the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased. Therefore, to approach a bona fide Guru or spiritual master is essential. A bona fide spiritual master is he who has received the mercy of his Guru, who in turn is bona fide because he has received the mercy of his Guru. This is called the Parampara system. Unless one follows this Parampara system, the mantra one receives will be chanted for no purpose. Nowadays, there are so many rascal gurus who manufacture their mantras as a process for material advancement, not spiritual advancement. Still, the mantra cannot be successful if it is manufactured. Mantras and the process of devotional service have special power, provided they are received from the authorized person. Sri Kashyapa Muni said, when I desired offspring, I placed inquiries before Lord Brahma, who is born from a lotus flower. Now I shall explain to you the same process Lord Brahma instructed me, by which Kashyapa, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is satisfied. We are reading today from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 16, entitled The Payovrata Process of Worship. Text 24. The scene of this event takes place in the higher planets, where there is facilities for heavenly enjoyment, unimaginable to the people of this earthly planet. But yet we find, even in this high abode, there is suffering. Abramabhuvanaloka punar apartunorjuna mamupetya tukonteya punarjanmana vidyate. From the highest planet in this material world, even Brahmaloka, down to the lowest planet, Patala Loka, and everything in between. They are all places where the essential basis is suffering. But one who attains my abode never has to take birth again in this material existence. Yes, there are forms of enjoyment in this earthly planet. People are mad after enjoyment, especially in cities like Mumbai, where whatever technological, scientific advancement human society makes, they try to create more and more facilities for enjoyment. But because punah charvata charvananam, whatever enjoyment it is, in whatever form it may take, it is all, according to Prahlada Maharaj, like chewing the chewed. Because in every species of life, we are enjoying different types of sensory pleasures, primarily through eating, sleeping, mating, defending. There's nothing new about it. But because it doesn't satisfy the heart, and we don't know where else to look, we have to try to create newer ways of doing the same old chewing the chewed. Acharyas explained this chewing the chewed process like somebody chews on the sugar cane and throws the pulp out. The juice is gone. But then we pick it up again to try to get some more juice and some more juice. And what is this? All these different ways are just different styles of chewing the same pulp. You see here in Mumbai with all the Bollywood and the clubs and the cricket teams, and it's not enough just to have an international cricket team. Now you have to have competition, national cricket teams and local cricket teams, and it's not enough just to have a nice restaurant. Now you need all sorts of decorations and better menus, and better films, and better cars, and better clothes. It's the same pulp, different methods of chewing it. That's all. Sorry to break this news to you, but there's nothing new. Different methods of chewing it. Sometimes we put different colors on it. But it's the same. And because we're so desperate for pleasure, we become so attached to whatever gives us a sense of pleasure. So yes, there is. Vivo Namaritaji. Very nice to see. So there is pleasure in this world. But the problem is, it is all built upon the foundation of suffering. And therefore, whatever pleasures there are infused with this type of suffering. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. Krishna is the creator. He knows how everything works. He knows why everything works. And he explains, because everything is temporary, the seed of suffering is within all pleasures of this world. The seed. And the more you enjoy something, the more that seed takes root in your heart. And the deeper the roots go, it's the seed of suffering. It's the root of suffering. The deeper the roots, the more you suffer. If there was no enjoyment in this world, there wouldn't be so much suffering. Because suffering really is the frustration of our attempts to enjoy. But we can't control whoever we may be. So the scene of this incident is in the heavenly planets. And Aditi, she is not just an ordinary person. She's the mother of the Devas. Indra, Vayu, Agni, Surya. She's the presiding mother of the demigods. What an exalted position she has. But yet she's suffering so much. And why is she suffering? Because she's a mother, and she sees that all of her children are suffering. Although the demigods are devotees, still, most of them are Kama Mishra Bhaktis. That means they're serving Krishna by utilizing their talents, but they're very much attached, most of them, to enjoying at the same time. They have material desires. But the nature of this world, whoever we are, wherever we are, sufferings come in one form or another. And here we find that the Devas lost everything. They lost their prestige. They lost their service to Krishna, at least their external form of service. They lost all their wealth, all their property. They were living like fugitives, disguising themselves, hiding from their enemies, the Asuras, who overpowered them. And seeing this situation, Aditi is so filled with anxiety, and nothing could compensate. So Kashyapa sees her in this condition. He asks her, what's wrong? And he presents the various reasons why people usually become full of anxiety. Did you not receive a guest properly? Did you not practice the principles of morality? Artha, Kama, Dhamma, Moksha? So many questions. And Aditi says, actually, I've done everything right. I've made no mistakes like this. And the reason I'm in so much anxiety is because our sons are suffering. They have lost everything. And you are such a great Prajapati, such a powerful personality. And she's begging with such a sincere heart. She asks, tell me the regulative principles by which I may worship the Supreme Master of the world, so that the Lord will be pleased with me and fulfill all my desires. O best of the Brahmins, kindly instruct me in the perfect method of worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead in devotional servants, by which the Lord will very soon be pleased with me and save me, along with my sons, from this most dangerous condition. She is approaching her husband as her guru. And we find here and in many places, approaching a guru is not a fashion, not a superstition, not just a social custom. We are really receptive to receiving the mercy of the guru when we approach in this sense of sincere desperation. The desperation by which we are not only hungry, we are starving for the shelter of the Lord. It's not a matter of just gaining some academic knowledge that we can show to others. It's not just a matter of feeling some security that now I'm connected. Krishna reveals himself through the Guru, through the Vaishnavas. And according to how we approach, according to the sense of need, Krishna reveals himself. According to the sense of urgency, we can receive the gifts of the spiritual master. So Aditi is approaching. It is a material desire that she has, more or less. Within this realm of material existence, her sons are suffering, therefore she's suffering, and she's suffering so bad. Emotional suffering can inflict us with pain often more than any physical suffering has the ability to do. Aditi's in perfect health. She has no disease, and where she's from, she never had a disease, and she'll never get a disease. Physically, everything's fine for her. But how's she suffering? Because of material, emotional attachment. Because she's identifying with her body and identifying her children as her own. But she is seeking serious shelter. It's urgent. Parikshit Maharaj did not approach Shukadev Goswami as a formality. He had 7 days to live. He wanted to attain the perfection of life. He wasn't concerned that he was going to die in 7 days. He was concerned that in that 7 days he would know Krishna. He was desperate. He wasn't falling asleep during Shukadev Goswami's Srimad Bhagavatam class. His mind was not wandering to what he's going to do next week. He had nothing to, there wasn't going to be a next week in this life. He wasn't thinking about the past. He was fully engrossed in the present moment, hearing from Shukadev Goswami. That is the consciousness we should have. Similarly, Arjuna, Bhagavad Gita was revealed to the world at a time of the greatest desperation in Arjuna's entire life. Karapanya doso bhata svapasha. We see in Mahabharata, Arjuna went through a lot. He lost his kingdom with Yudhisthira Maharaj. He saw the disgrace of his wife, Draupadi, at least the attempt. So many problems. But never did it say that he was weeping, and he was pale white, and he dropped his Gandiva bowl, and his mouth was dry, and he was fully bewildered. He was really in anxiety, an anxiety he never had in his entire life, and he went through a lot. And it was an emotional anxiety. Just the nature of this world is it puts us in perplexing situations. No matter what we do, no matter how good we are or bad we are, it's not that being pious means you'll be happy. It means being pious you'll find some happiness in a world that's full of complexities. It was in that state that he begged Krishna. He didn't just inquire. He was begging Krishna, please save me. I need your shelter. I've been your friend all these years. We've had so many friendly talks. No more friendly talks. You're my guru. I'm your disciple. Save me. I can't tolerate this. He was burning in the fire of anguish internally. And that was his state of mind when he was listening to Bhagavad Gita. So the question is how to become like this. The association of devotees, sadhu sangam, who are striving for this state of consciousness is all important. But also the reversals that come in life. Krishna only allows them to touch his devotees because that's what devotees need, although it's inconceivable. It may be our karma, some reversals, some suffering may come. But as a devotee who's trying to take shelter of the Lord, we're taking shelter of Krishna's internal potency. Krishna can intervene and take away that karma. Why does he let it happen? Or why does he give something extra by his own mercy? Because all the material stuff in this world is coming and going. Krishna just doesn't take it all so seriously. From the perspective of Krishna, all these physical things that are happening in this physical world are just a flash in the reality of eternity. And he sees each and every one of us as eternal souls, Satchit Ananda, full of knowledge and bliss, absolutely beyond this body and all the things connected to this body. I don't say people, I say things, because the bodies of all the people we love are things. The body is not the person. The soul is the person. And nothing can interrupt our relationships with other souls. Nothing can disturb our relationship with our own soul or with God, except forgetfulness. And in that forgetfulness, we identify ourselves and others as things, bodies. Even the mind is just a thing, a mundane thing. Krishna doesn't take all that so seriously. So if these things get all mixed up, which they're mixed up anyway, and the soul identifying with it becomes very perturbed, Krishna wants us to be happy. He doesn't want us to suffer. But he doesn't want us to be happy in a way that we're just letting the roots of suffering go deeper and deeper and deeper in our hearts in the name of happiness. Because ultimately everything is taken away. And that's hard. Krishna wants us to be liberated. Krishna wants us to awaken our love, the ecstasy of the heart. So if we have to go through some temporary problems with these things in order to help us to actually take shelter of the process of bhakti, not just do it complacently or as a formality or as a rule or a regulation. The rules and regulations are there to keep us steady. So we should follow the rules and regulations. But it's not just following, it's how we follow. It's the spirit. We are told to chant the holy names every day. It's the spirit of how we take shelter. We are told to hear the Srimad Bhagavatam every day. Nasta prayeshi bhadreshu nityam bhagavati sevya. But it's how we take shelter of the Bhagavatam. Aditi was seriously approaching her her husband. So many small talks they have about this and that. Of course, there wasn't too much small talk because Kashyapa Muni was usually out meditating. And, on rare occasions, Aditi would see him when his eyes were open. Otherwise, she'd just see him with his eyes closed in some state of trance. So Kashyapa Muni, as a great, great soul, he sees his wife's condition, and in today's verse he's speaking to her. And it's a very beautiful instruction we find. Kashyapa Muni simply has no false ego. He's not saying, I will save you, my dear wife. He's telling, because Aditi wants an offspring. She wants someone who's going to reclaim the property of her children. And Kashyapa is saying, when I desired offspring, I place my inquiries before Lord Brahma. And I'm not going to give you something original or new. I'm not going to give you something that I have created by my artistically brilliant genius. I'm not going to tell you something that the world has never seen or heard due to my sublime realizations. I'm going to repeat to you what I heard from Brahma. There's no ego in this. This is Parampara. And our Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada, he stressed this so much because he understood the human nature, that we love to take credit. We love to be the one. We love to be very original. But this analogy, I created this. This is my contribution to the universal creation. Humility. I'm just a servant of the servant of the servant. I'm just repeating the message. When you're feeling you're just repeating the message, that's always been there, that you have received from your Guru. It's a humble state. Because in that state you give credit to your Guru, and his Guru, and his Guru. It's not about me. It's about serving. Now, if Kashyapa Muni wanted to be given credit for great things, what is his power above the people of this world today? An incredible personality. He's the father of the demigods. He's the father of most of the demigods through Aditi and most of the asuras through Diti. Interestingly, before this point, he has so many children, huge family, a lot of grandchildren. And some of his children, like Indra, they're very, very great, powerful, famous personalities in the side of the devas, the devotees. But his best child, or one of his best childs, was Prahlada, who happened to be born in the demon side. Yes? From Diti came Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, and the grandson of Kashyapa is Prahlada. So among the demigods are all devotees, but his most glorious son was born of the race of demons. Very interesting. Kashyapa is a very incredible personality. Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha were born of a mistake. Yes? Diti induced him to come together with her at a very, very inauspicious time. But even the greatest benediction came through a mistake. Yes? Prahlada, by material calculation, was a byproduct of a serious mistake. Yes? But by the grace of Narada Muni, he transformed a mistake into the greatest benediction to the world. Mahajano yena gata sapanta. The way to approach the Supreme Lord is to follow in the footsteps of Mahajans, and one of the greatest of all Mahajans is Prahlada. And another one of the great Mahajans is Bali Maharaj, who's the grandson of Prahlada. So two of the greatest Mahajans, and two of the greatest examples of the 9 processes of devotional service. Prahlada exemplified smaranam, remembering Krishna constantly. Man bhava mad bhakto mad yajim namaskuru. Krishna says, always think of me. Prahlada was remembering Krishna 24 hours a day in every situation, whether he was being thrown in fire, whether he was being held under a mountain, under the ocean, whether he was being in a pit of snakes that were all venomous. Prahlada had no fear. Now some of us were walking and all of a sudden a snake just pops out from the side of the road and just slithers right in front of us. And you see it has a diamond-shaped head, which indicates it's venomous. Yes, and its tongue is slithering. And he turns and looks right in your eyes. And you're about 6 inches away. Will you be afraid? You don't have to admit it to all of us, but just think in your own mind. Yes, you've been a devotee for so many years, perhaps, but will you be afraid? That snake's looking at your eyes and slithering his tongue, and there's no place for you to go, and you're all alone. And if he bites you, there's no Bhaktivedanta medicos there to give you anti-dose or whatever it's called. You're just all alone in the middle of a field. Well, Prahlad was thrown in a pit of hundreds and hundreds of snakes, where he landed right on top of them. And all their tongues were going. But he had no fear. He wasn't the slightest bit fearful. He loved it. He loved the snakes. Maro birako bijo icha tohar nitya dasa prati tuva adhikar. Bhakti Vinod has sung, my Lord, if you want to kill me, kill me. I'm ready. If you want to save me, then what can possibly harm me? I am yours. You can do anything you like to me. I'm your servant in any situation. That's the quality of fearlessness. That was Prahlad. He realized he was the eternal soul. Snakes can't bite the soul. The soul never dies. And Prahlad was just, if I'm remembering you, my Lord, I'm with you. Nothing else matters. And Bali Maharaj represents Atmanivedanam, surrendering everything to the Lord. Very interesting. Two of the examples of the 9 processes of devotional service are the byproducts of the mistake of Kashyapa Muni and Aditi from the clan of demons, which means Janmaishwarya Shruti Shibir Edamana Madapuman. Queen Kunti said one should not be proud of one's knowledge or wealth or beauty or one's prestigious family. It's about the free choices we make. If anyone surrenders to the Lord, sarvadharaman parityajya, then Krishna gives us shelter, whoever we may be. Gajendra was an elephant. Hanuman was a monkey. Shabari was a nishada, what was considered an outcast woman. In Vrindavan there was the Pulinda. One Pulinda woman was selling fruit. She cried out, does anyone want to buy fruit? And Krishna came running to get some fruits. And he saw his parents, his mother. In those days there was no paper currency. There was the bartering process, where you got real things and you gave real things. It was an exchange. It was an exchange of real things. Yes. Paper is not, if you're hungry and you have 100 crores of rupees, you can't eat your rupees. Real things. So Krishna ran to the fruit vendor with some grains in his hand, but he was so enthusiastic, and he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How charming, how sweet, that he could not keep the grains in his hands. He could keep the sun in orbit for 311 trillion years during Brahma's life. He could keep the sun in orbit, he could keep the earth in orbit, he could keep the oceans, and he's keeping everything in the whole creation, not only in this creation, but in unlimited creation, universes. But that same absolute truth, as Nandanandana, the son of Nanda, he's such a charming little boy that all the grains are falling as he's running. And by the time he gets to the fruit vendor, there's hardly anything in his hand. And he doesn't know, he just shows. And he's smiling. And this Pulinda woman, she's so charmed to see Krishna's beautiful smile, his wonderful form. Just a little child. She's not thinking this is Parampara, the Supreme Lord. She's just thinking he's such a beautiful, innocent little boy, and he wants fruits. So he gave her nothing, and she filled his arms with the best of her fruits, all that he could hold and more. And he was so happy. Can you imagine? As she was piling the fruits in his arms, he was smiling, thinking, so nice. And then Krishna ran home. And the fruit vendor lady, she was thinking, so what if I didn't get anything in return? I made him happy. She was just remembering that beautiful form and that smile of his pleasure upon her. And that was a greater wealth than anything she could have possibly had. And then she turned around and she saw that her basket was full of jewels. And according to Jiva Goswami, it's not that she just became ecstasy because now she was rich with jewels. She looked at the jewels, and what put her in ecstasy was the jewel that Krishna placed in her heart, the jewel of love for him. She didn't care about the other stuff. She had attained something so, the ultimate perfection of life. So whoever we are, wherever we're coming from, if we just make that choice to give pleasure to Krishna, Krishna gives us the ultimate wealth, the ultimate jewel of prema, or love, the ultimate and only real aspiration of the heart. Kashyapa Muni here, he is showing what is the nature of one who has that love, and what is the nature of one who can give that love. Someone who has no false ego. Kashyapa Muni, he is saying here that I am simply going to repeat for you the instruction that I heard from Lord Brahma, my Gurudev. Now, we were saying Srila Prabhupada understood the nature of the human mind, that this pratishta, this desire for prestige, even in spiritual life, we have this tendency to be very unique. We have this tendency to take credit. It's about me. Now, here is Srila Prabhupada. What did he do? 70 years old, he got on that cargo ship, sailed across 2 oceans, 3 continents, with nothing, established a movement with thousands and thousands of people, and hundreds of temples and millions of books, with nothing. It was just based on his incredible determination and empowerment of divine love and compassion. But from the beginning to the very end, he always said the same thing. He said, I am simply repeating what I have heard. what was his realization, what was his sacrifice, what was his devotion. We can give great credit to him, but he never accepted anything for himself. Just repeating what I have heard. He called himself a postal peon. A peon is a very, very menial servant who's just delivering the message. So here Kashyapa Muni is expressing the same spirit for himself. I am simply going to repeat for you. Kashyapa Muni, in the previous verses, when he heard Aditi's Harivo, when he heard Aditi's appeal, his first words were, alas, just see the power of Krishna's illusory energy. How it causes the eternal spirit soul, which is totally different from this body and mind, to identify with this body and mind and identify and develop such attachments to the things of this world. And this was his first words. Dehino mismin yata dehe. Same first words as Krishna. Kashyapa Muni is expressing upon hearing Aditi's complexity. We're not this body. We are part of Krishna. Our real heritage is something very great. You see, the soul is neither born of the Daityas or the Devas. The soul is part of Krishna. Najayate mriyate vakadachit. It has no birth, it has no death. It's transcendent to everything of this world. And he tells Aditi that no one can save us except the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just worship Krishna. Only through devotion, Kashyapa Muni explains, just like the Gita. Bhaktyatvanyaya shakyam aham evam vidorjana. Krishna said, it is only by undivided devotion can I be understood as I am. Similarly, Kashyapa Muni is speaking the same principle. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is merciful to the poor, will fulfill all your desires, for devotional service unto him is infallible. Any other method than devotional service is useless. This is my opinion. There are three types of people. Who are aspiring for sarva karma, moksha karma, or akarma. People with so many desires for material enjoyment and security. And then there are those frustrated by that process who are desiring moksha, or liberation, entrance into the unlimited peace of Brahman. And then there is akarma, people who actually have no desires at all. That is the devotees. They want nothing for themselves. They only want to serve. This desire for service is the purest, highest state of spiritual revelation. Desiring selfish things in this world implicates us in the three modes of nature and the laws of karma. Desire for liberation, from the Vaishnava perspective, it's about me. I don't want to suffer anymore. So it's not considered pure. But the desire to serve, unconditional, unmotivating service, that desire is absolutely pure. And that is to be considered desireless. To be without desire because it's without any selfish desire for anything for oneself. And unless we come to that state, we cannot enter into the spiritual world of Vaikuntha. Param drisvani vartate. When we experience that higher taste of being attracted to Krishna, like that fruit vendor, she just became so attached to Krishna. Her only goal in life was just to make him smile by giving him everything she had if it was necessary. That is desireless. When Krishna captures our heart, there could be no selfish ego. When Krishna captures our heart, forever, we simply want to make him smile. That is love. That is the love of the soul. To give Krishna happiness. And Krishna's love for us is unlimited. He's just asking us to accept it, to receive it, through our service attitude. And Krishna fills us with his loves. In this purport today, we read how Krishna has given his method of how to approach. Because Aditi is explaining in previous verses why she's approaching Kashyapa. She understands she has to get the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And she says the Supreme Lord is equal to everyone. Whether they're devas or daityas, or anyone else. Aham bija pratapita. He's the seed-giving father, mother for every living being. He's equal to everyone. But still, she says, those who are his devotees, those who surrender everything to him, are very special and dear to him. And Krishna gives himself through those devotees who are dear to him. That is his method of giving the highest liberation to this world. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Sastakoi, Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Even one moment's association with a pure-hearted sadhu can open the doors to the highest perfection in life. Therefore, there is nothing more valuable in all of existence than the association of devotees. Greater than elevation to the heavenly planets, greater than treasures that surpass Indra, greater than the achievement of the 8 mystic siddhis where we could perform incomparable miracles, greater than liberation from all material suffering, is a moment association with a devotee. Because in that association, we can connect to Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada is explaining the holy name is non-different than Krishna. But unless we receive it from the pure-hearted devotees in Parampara, then even the mantra and the name has minimal effects. Because Krishna impregnates his potency in the name, especially when it is received by those who are most dear to him. That is simply the way Krishna gives himself. This sublime truth is being manifested here, and we will read that in the future verses, how Aditi will be performing some serious austerities. She learned the process through Kashyapa, one who is so dear to the Lord, her guru. And by following his instructions, it's not that he just touched her head and she saw Krishna. She had to go through some tapasya. She had to go through some hardship and remain faithful to his instructions. And through that, Vamanadev was born to her. And similarly, when we simply humbly receive the message with this eager sense of urgency in our life, then Krishna will also be born within our heart. He will appear. So the inconceivable problems, reversals, complexities, anxieties, miseries of this world, through the path of bhakti, we can transform them into the very means by which we sincerely take shelter of the Lord. But in the association of devotees, by hearing regularly, we maintain our perspective that whatever we're passing through, it's just a flash in the eyes of eternity. It's just about these material things called bodies and things in relationship to the bodies that are just going through all this stuff. Underlying it all is the eternal soul in myself and in others. But the reversals of the things are actually the opportunity which could impel us to sincerely, with all humility, take shelter. The false ego is so deep and so great to really take shelter, we have to be genuinely humble. And to be genuinely humble, we have to really feel ourselves helpless without the mercy of Krishna that's coming through Guru and Vaishnavas. That's real humility. I'm helpless without that mercy. And that is what Kashyapa Muni is teaching us in these verse today. And this is the spirit that we have the opportunity to urgently, desperately, feelingly, and eventually lovingly cry out very loudly the holy name. Times louder. In the mood of Gajendra, in the teeth of the crocodiles. Let us chant one more time. When we go beyond that crocodile, then we can chant in the mood of the gopas and the gopis, not just in desperation due to material anguish, but it is an offering. The material anguish brings us to the point of taking full shelter in humility. And from that point, then we chant even millions of times more enthusiastic as an expression of pure love. I noted that we were louder when we were in the crocodile's jaws rather than when we were chanting with pure love. But one leads to the other, and that is. Is there any questions? Shamdas Ji Prabhu, please come for darshan. Special darshan we made just for you today. Is there any questions? Yes. That curtain's up. They'll take the curtain down in a few minutes. Any questions? Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, if a devotee in the beginning shows little bit seriousness in Krishna consciousness and takes a commitment that I will follow Krishna consciousness for the whole lifetime, and then he takes a vow also of initiation, he follows 4 regulatory principles, chants 16 rounds for the whole lifetime. But even if he follows those all regulatory principles in 16 rounds, still that desperation doesn't come in his heart. That seriousness, that urgency doesn't come in his heart. That Krishna is everything in my heart. Other than Krishna, I don't want anything. And I want Krishna at any cost. And I want to finish my business in this lifetime itself. That seriousness has not come. But he has followed his all regulatory principles. He has chanted 16 rounds. He's maintained his devotional life. Then what is the destination of that devotee when he leaves his body?
The destination, neha vikramanasroshti pratyavayo nividyate swalpamapsyasya dharmasya trayate mahatho bhayat. We take up from where we left off in our previous life. But what is important is that we yearn for, we long for that sense of urgency. We cultivate it in our sadhana, in our prayers. And we seek out the association of people who inspire that sense of urgency. If we don't have the desire, we pray and yearn and long for that desire. And that is our free will, that is our choice. We have that power. But it is inspired and nourished in the association of those who have it, or in those who are striving for it. Association, satsang, is not a material interaction. It is divine grace, it is mercy that is being transferred. Because for those who love God, and those who are aspiring to love God, God is manifesting Himself to us through their hearts, through their gestures, through their words, through their prayers. And to the degree we are receptive by our humble service attitude, that love, Krishna's love, will manifest to us through them. So we may not have much of a desire now. We may just be following some principles and doing the rules according to what we're taught. But that real spirit of urgency, of hunger for Krishna, of need for Krishna, it comes through various ways. But the principal way is through association. When we hear about these things, when we hear from the mouths of people who have that urgency, something divine is taking place. It awakens within our heart. And also the tribulations of this world. In association of devotees, we learn how to transform the tribulations in this world to be opportunities to really cry out for Krishna's shelter in a humble state of mind. If that's what you want, that is what will be given. When Krishna shows, what is that? Yasyaham anagrinnami harishye taddanam shanai. When Krishna gives His mercy, He may give you whatever you want. But when He shows His great mercy, He may put you in perplexed situations and even take away what you wanted, so that you realize there's actually no one to turn to except God, except Brajendra Nandana, the son of the king of Braja, Krishna. Shamdas Ji, today is the appearance day of Sripad Vallabhacharya. And he taught this glorious mantra, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mam, which is the very essence of all knowledge. The conclusion of all Vedas. Vedaishcha saravera hameva vedyo vedanta karid veda vedeva chaham. Krishna made the Vedas. He wrote, through Vyasadeva he wrote them. He's the one who spoke to Brahma at the beginning of creation with all knowledge. So Krishna is the source of all knowledge. He's the author of all the Vedas. He's the knower of all the Vedas. And by all the Vedas, only He's to be known. So the essence, the conclusion, the goal of all the six schools of philosophy. Sarvadharman parityasya mamekam sharanam praja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishamimasuja. To surrender to Krishna. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mam. In essence, that means Vyavashayatmaka Buddhir Ekeha Kudunandana. To be fixed in our resolute purpose. That Krishna is my only shelter. Not my mother, not my father, not my children. Not the Indian government or the American government. Not even my doctor. Not even my psychiatrist. My only shelter is Krishna. Shri Krishna Sharanam. We have to be convinced of this. That Krishna is our only shelter. But Krishna gives us shelter through His devotees, through those who love Him, through those who have surrendered everything to Him, and through those who are aspiring to do so. Without the association of devotees, our chanting of God's names will be not much more than a ritual. Our reading of Srimad Bhagavatam will be not much more than a ritual. But in the association of sincere devotees with a service attitude, Krishna manifests some divine transformation. Krishna manifests His pushti, His grace, through that in that environment. And then the chanting of God's names and the reading of Bhagavatam and the darshan of Thakurji, of the Murti in the temple, of our home or in the temples, then it's no longer just a ritual. In that association, if we have a service attitude in that association, then we can actually see the Bhagavat, the Murti, the holy name, and the Vaishnavas. We see that Krishna is giving His shelter there. Sri Krishna Sharanam Mam. And it's our only shelter. The holy name, the Srimad Bhagavat, the deity in the temple, and the Vaishnavas. Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavad Gita. That is where we find Krishna, our only shelter. And then Krishna reveals Himself. And when He reveals Himself, He reveals His divine associates in the whole spiritual world of Goloka. If we can simply one time chant the holy names in that spirit. Thank you very much. Shamdasji, would you like to speak a few words? Can we send him microphone? He has a sloka and a song and wisdom for every subject that we can.
Hari Bol. Jai Shri Krishna. तो मैं 2 मिनट हिंदी में बोलूँगा क्यों वकील साहब ने कल हमको बताया कि ये हिंदी बोलने से हमको तो होना चाहिए थोड़ा बहुत है और मेरा बहुत आदरणीय भाव है कि मैं आप लोगों के समक्ष में आया हूँ और इस महासत्संग मंडली में हम भी थोड़ा सा लाभ उठा सकता हूँ क्योंकि वस्तुतः भक्ति मार्ग में दास अनुदासत्व का जो धर्म है ये सबसे उत्तम बात है और आज महाप्रभु वल्लभाचार्य का प्रागट्य दिन है जन्मदिन है तो हम लोग जो पुष्टि मार्गीय हैं वस्तुतः गौड़ीय से अलग है नहीं है क्योंकि ये सब रसात्मक रसिक भक्ति मार्ग है और इसलिए हम लोग एकदम भाई बंधु हैं. So that's about as much in Hindi as I am going to speak today. Okay? Tasmat sarvatmana nityam Sri Krishna sharanam mama. So as Maharaj has been explaining, and I must say my friendship with Maharaj, which he explains, Shamdas, who I've known all my life that I met last year, is a perfect explanation because I feel like I have an eternal connection with not only him, but with all of you. I don't know how that happens because the whole Leela of Krishna as it appears in Golok Dham all the way down to the world here is achintaniya. You're not able to figure it out through your mind, but you are able to feel it. And in the presence of this incredible, amazing congregation, my heart overflows. As I walked in, you were just chanting Hare Krishna very loud. I almost fell down. I was involved in my morning seva, so I wasn't able to get here early enough. But Vallabhacharya does say tasma, therefore, sarvatmana, with your total feeling and your complete bhav, with your devotion of dedication Tasmat sarvatmana nityam. Always you should go reciting the names of Krishna. Sri Krishna, Sharanam Mama. That you should recite that. Krishna, Sri Krishna, Radha Krishna actually. They are my singular refuge. And that is the Dharma, that is our Artha, that is our wealth, that is our Kama, that is our desire, that is our Moksha, most importantly, that is our devotion. So I'm very honored to be sitting in your presence, and I look forward to having all of your darshans again and again. मैं आपको दंडवत करता हूँ और मैं भगवान से प्रार्थना करता हूँ कि हमारा भक्ति आप लोगों के द्वारा भी बढ़ते रहेंगे. बस हरि बोल.
Go Premanandi. Thank you very much.